Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Drama Surgery Podcast. In this episode, I'm going to be continuing on my review of A Bio Desire. Currently, we are on episodes 10 and 11, and honestly, I can't wait. I cannot wait to see what I want to see, and we all know what I'm talking about, right? I need to see that bump. It must happen, right? Now that they've all like slept together, that is what I am waiting for. And I was actually kind of pissed in episode 10 and 11 that I did not see any bump, or I did not even hear anything about the pregnancy. But I'm guessing, especially for Gout, it's going to be like next week, or this week, that is episode 12 or 13, right? Because honestly, that's what I'm waiting for, right? I'm the first in my generation to see this, and I must see it. I'm kidding, guys. I don't think there's going to be a bump, right? The best you're gonna get is some declaration of pregnancy, and that's it. But honestly, I can hope, right? I can hope. But yeah, episode 10 and 11, let's talk about it. For Hwayong and Shen Shaoyou, we know that, they've had sex. Obviously, Shen Shaoyou does not know who he had sex with. And he just finds out in episode 10, right? Because the building collapses in the library or wherever they went to, and Hwayong had no choice but to reveal himself to protect Shen Shaoyu, right? So finally the ruse is over, and I'm actually glad it's over because honestly, Hwayong was stressing me out. Like, I can take non-con to an extent, but I feel like Hwayong was worse than worse. Like, and it was making me uncomfortable. Like, I was, yeah, so I'm glad that it's over, and like Shen Shaoyu knows. And we are kind of in the age where Hwayong is no longer pretending, although I still feel like he pretends regardless. I think he's just a pretender when it comes to Sheng Shaoyu. Like, I think that the person that Sheng Shaoyu knows is just never going to be the real Hwayong, right? But still, like, that old part of the Omega, the pretense, all that is like done with, and he has to, or he gets to be himself to an extent, right? And not play that old thing and play it up, right? So I'm glad for that, and I'm glad that Chen Shayo has time to experience him just as he is, and they can kind of like mend that part of the relationship that was obviously just fake, right? I'm glad that we are seeing Shen Xiaoyu be angry about this because he deserves to be angry. Actually, in real life, I would be like, run far, far away, like literally run away from that guy. But obviously, this is the Omega verse, and we're just gonna take it the way it is. So I'm at least glad that Sheng Xiaoyu is not sweeping it under the rug, and he's confronting this, and he is like genuinely giving Hwayong a hard time because he deserves it. Like, he deserves it, and he deserves more. I wish that this could go on for like the longest time, but obviously, like, I know they're going to like reconcile by next week probably, right? Once Hwayong saves him from his half brother, right? So I think that it's good to see them still have that moment where they are not like on the same page, and Hwayong is begging for Sheng Xiaoyu's forgiveness because it was necessary, and makes me feel a little better, right? Going forward is going to be good because again, we get to see Hwayong just be himself and actually like not pretend to be weak, right? Because again, he is stronger than Shen Xiaoyu, and it's just going to be interesting to see how their dynamic now plays, given that he is not like weaker and does not pretend to be weak, right? So that's something I'm looking forward to, because all this while I feel like Shen Xiaoyu has treated Hwayong like an Omega, and therefore pampered him a lot and treated him like he was made of glass. And so to see how that will play out now that that is no longer the case is something I'm looking forward to. So yeah, that's on Hwayong and Shen Xiaoyu. Moving on to Gaotu and Shen Wenlang. These two are more complicated for me. Like, and I don't know how like the writers are going to like play out their story, because things are already changing from the novel. And I hate to be that person to bring in a novel, because when you're watching an adaptation, that is just what you're watching. You are not supposed to like technically reference anything else, because then if something changes, you might get pissed and be like, but that wasn't in the novel, blah blah blah, right? So I hate to do that, but now that things have changed from the novel in respect to like what Gaotu knows, right? And how he comes to know it. So if you've not read the novel, the scene in the hospital where Hwa-young basically lets Gaotu know that like he knows, like he shows in the picture that like it was you in the hallway, right? And basically lets him know that he knows that he was the one that slept with Shen Wenlang, right? That whole scene in the hospital, right? Does not happen in the novel, right? It's never Hwa-young, and he never really like knew that there was like a picture somewhere, right? It was just Hwa-young that sent that to Shen Wenlang, and Shen Wenlang did not see that picture for like a long time till after Gaotu was even like away and had ran away, right? So that is different here, and I don't know what the purpose of changing that is, but I'm looking forward to it. I like when sometimes they change stuff because it makes it more interesting for me, the viewer, being still a little curious and expectant of what might happen now that things have deviated. So I am interested to see how things would change from the novel. But yeah, regarding Gaotu and Shen Wenlang, I feel like these two just like have my heart, and like I have all the love for them. Like I don't know what it is about their like dynamic that is just like chef's kiss. Like I think it's the combination of like childhood friends and seeing how Shen Wenlang just like trusts Gaotu, and how much like Gaotu clearly like loves Shen Wenlang, right? But somehow they are still not connecting because of their own personalities and trauma, right? Like Gaotu is someone that has a very low self-esteem, and so that's why in his like wildest dreams he could never like assume or think that Shen Wenlang would like him, right? Shen Wenlang is just high up there and just a place where Gaotu can never reach, right? That's how Gaotu sees it in his mind. Whereas Shen Wenlang clearly loves Gaotu. It's very, very obvious to everybody, right? But because of how he was raised and the lack of affection that he experienced as a kid from his parents, that's kind of why he reacts the way he does, right? And doesn't really understand that this is love and this is what love looks like, and stuff like that. So I really like that scene where Hwa-young, because Hwa-young knows everything, right? So the scene where they are in the hospital, right? And this is after Gaotu has left, right? So Shen Wenlang comes in and is asking where Gaotu is, because if one thing Shen Wenlang would do is to ask where Gaotu is. That's like something he asks every episode. Like so far that like I think every episode is asked that question at one point or the other. So he's always looking for him. His eyes are always like just like tracking him, right? So when he's not around, he notices immediately, right? So like he asks, where's Gaotu? And Hwa-young is like, he left. Like, did you want me to keep him behind so you can like stay at him some more, right? And Shaoyou is appalled. They're like, what do you mean by that, right? That like, why would that be the case? Why would I need to look at him and everything? And Hwa-young is like, is that what you're doing? That like, you see him every day and yeah, you still want to take a look at him? And then Shaoyou is just like, no, actually, he's been on leave so far, and so I've not seen him in a few days, right? And it's just like, he doesn't even deny it, that like, he has not been able to get his feel of like just looking at Gaotu. And honestly, like I love a man that does not know he's in love, right? And he will do everything for you, but admit that he's in love. And Shen Wenlang is the ultimate archetype of that kind of person, right? So he's the one that I am most interested to see how he breaks down when Gaotu leaves, right? Because to see him be brought down a notch is just like going to be amazing, right? So like I am really, really looking forward to that and how that plays out. Even though technically I kind of also do not want Gaotu to like suffer through like his pregnancy. I am still, kind of sad that might happen. I do want to see Shen Wenlang suffer. So it's like, it's going to be bittersweet for me, right? Maybe they shouldn't make it too long. Maybe he should still be pregnant when Shen Wenlang finds him, as opposed to like years later, which is how it is in the novel. So we'll see. Fingers crossed on how like they play that out. And since things are changing, hopefully they change that too. So yeah, that's kind of where we are at now at episode 11. the story is moving a lot faster. And I mean, we are nearing the end of this drama. We have like 4 episodes left, so like it's going to pick up really quickly, right? So yeah, I am looking forward to the rest of this drama, and I'm sure it's going to be amazing throughout. So yeah, that's all I have in this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your week, and yeah, I'll see you again next week. Bye.